Alright, welcome back to the Supercoach Nuff channel. In this video we're going to preview round 17 of the 2025 NRL Fantasy season. Excuse me there. So before we get stuck into my team, we'll look at the who's hot, who's not list. And at number one on the list is Jacob Kiraz. So the Bulldogs just coming off their final bye for the season. Dual position, keeper, centre, potentially keeper at wing fullback. I think bring him in with confidence, particularly given some of the injuries this week. There should be a bit of money around. Number two, cheapie of the week is Latu Fainu. So named at 7 for the Tigers. So has been coming on and playing a bit of a role through the middle, like ball playing 13. So I guess the added minutes of playing in the 7 is nice, and probably a bit more responsibility around kicking and stuff. And then particularly next week with Luai going to Origin, I think this is a pretty smart pick. So probably one I hadn't considered too deeply before seeing this. But yeah, I do like that trade in this week. Reece Walsh, I guess a few people looking for a wing fullback, a bit of value, looking for someone who plays next week. I guess, he does tick those boxes. I guess just isn't rewarded for his upside that he would be in Supercoach. So, I don't know. One I'm not particularly looking at, but I can understand why people would bring him in. Latrell. So, I guess the issue with bringing in Latrell this week is he will miss the next 2 weeks due to Origin and then South by in round 19. Both those weeks are best 13, so if you can cover for those weeks, and I know I've got a surplus of wing fullbacks going into next week, I think. I can understand that move. So, Latrell's definitely one you could bring in. Jed Stewart, still nice and cheap, only played the one game, didn't set the world on fire in terms of fantasy scoring, but the job security's there. The ability to score tries is there, which will obviously help generate points and cash. So I think he is a useful option to bring in this week. Jacob Preston, so just like Kiraz, done with the buys. Outside chance of getting a call up for Origin, but I think Kyle Matangi is the one to watch ahead of him. So I think he's one you can bring in and lock in on your edge for the rest of the season. Ryan Pappenhausen, so the Storm finished all their buys back in round 15. Obviously, if you're looking for a wing fullback that covers the next few rounds and you can just keep for the rest of the year, Pappenhausen is potentially your guy. Karapani, obviously, bringing him in, covers round 18. Still got a lot of potential for scoring and obviously cash generation as a result. I do like that pick this week. Payne Haas, a few people going early on bringing back Payne Haas off the back of 100. And even though I've got him and I'm probably captaining this week, I would suggest if you've got Payne Haas just to hold off. He's not going to play next week. You could get him round 19, but then the Broncos do have a bye round 20. So, it's one of those ones you can bring him in at any time because he is an elite level keeper. But I think there's better ways to spend that money over the coming weeks. Herbie Farnworth, so again, another expensive trade in who's not going to play next week. So it's a lot of money to invest over 1 week. If you look at it a bit longer term, the output for the investment isn't quite there. Tom Trbojevic, so with the move to the centres, it'll be interesting to see how that goes. Obviously, there will be an increase in defence in terms of a few more tackles. Admittedly, not too many, given that he is still very much out on the edge. And it'll be interesting to see how his ball running is affected. So the meters gained may not be there. So I don't know if this is the best move for NRL Fantasy, but Fortune favours the brave. I think he's fairly cheap. I haven't looked at the price point. Let's try and load it up here. So, I mean, at under 400k, I can see the appeal, but he's played one game in the centres for a 42. Um, there's a few more in the centres, although that's Origin, so I know Origin's a different beast, but he has gone well in the centres. But looks like only one. Okay, there's a few way back when in the centres, so I should have just filtered it out to begin with. Yeah, so I guess if you factor in the or take out those Origin games, he does average about 50, which is well above where he's at. So yeah, so some good meters gained and stuff. So a few more tackles in the Cowboys one, leading to the 42 last season. So yeah, I guess a little bit more convinced on that, but I want to have a look first. I think is how I'm feeling. Jerome Hughes obviously plays the rest of the season. Um, if you need a half, and I probably do, particularly for next week. Um, yep, I think you can bring him in. Ruben Garrick, yeah, I think if you like the moves there at Manly, the dual position's nice, round 18 coverage. I think you can bring him in. Isaiah Katoa and Kurt Donahue, my man. So obviously the Dolphins are going well. Can bring him in this week, but they won't play next week. So um, particularly Katoa, I'd suggest holding off. I think with Donahue, the break even is still really good, which is the temptation to bring him in. So, 25 is not fantastic, but back to back 59s, particularly this one. I think he ended up shifting out to the centres, which is why he played more minutes. So it did balance out. But work rate, 42 tackles, 116 run meters. You love to see it from the great man. So, yeah, the thing is, I'm trying to work out how to keep him in the squad when I need to do a trade next week. Who's not this week? Obviously, number one, Fletcher Sharp. No, he was the ruptured kidney and spleen. So hopefully he recovers from that. But yeah, unfortunately, we do have to sell. Obviously, the money on his head means there is lots of great moves this week. But I guess trying to use it wisely is the key. Riley Smith so misses out a few weeks with suspension and bye. So I think here's one you can cash out at this point. Jaden Campbell. So this is the one I'm debating whether it's a trade out or a hold, given that he only misses 2 weeks, but he will come back and lose a bit of value with I think a 70 odd break even. In saying that, he only scored 75, I think, week before last, so he can get to it and not lose value. Um, but I guess it's team dependent. If you're, struggling for wing fullbacks and halves, which is definitely something I'm in that position of, he may be the one who has to go. CY Wong out with a knee injury, so he has to go. Jack Bostock ACL injury, so he is definitely a sell. Nathan Lawson just dropped, so if you can sideways to Karapani, like for like in the position, I guess Jed Stewart is a similar price. That move makes sense. Tamale, if you haven't sold him, yeah, he is out long term, so he can go. Olaquatu, yeah, I think he's one you can sell if you need to make some room. Pasifiki Tonga isn't named this week, so he's not going to lose your cash, but probably won't give you any coverage next week. So if you can move him on, feel free. Jackson Purdue's an interesting one, moving back to the centres, out of the halves. Could paradoxically free him up a bit, where he was scoring well in the centres, hence the move into 5/8 to try and get him some more ball. But I think maybe the extra freedom out wide particularly against the Titans this week. I think he could be one that you regret trading out. Robert Toyer, so misses out the next couple of weeks with bye and Origin, but I guess will be useful from round 19 onwards. So that's team dependent. Lockie Hubner named on the bench this week. So I think, you can get rid of him. Hudson Young. So I think I saw he was injured. So misses this week, play all suspended, something like that. I think, I forget. But basically, he's out for 3 weeks through injury, origin, suspension. So I think, particularly if you're short on numbers for the next couple of weeks, he is one you can move on. King Togia probably done his job for us, so I can understand moving on from that. And Hamish Stewart named on the bench again, so I think he is one that is a priority trade out. So in terms of the trades this week, I've got 2 trades lined up from the round preview. Haven't really changed. Pappenhausen for Sharp. And with Pasifiki Tonga out, I've brought in Karapani because I did need another backline player this week. Struggling with Tedesco out, Campbell out, and also obviously Sharp out this week. So Karapani is the guy there. And we'll just have a quick look at the team. So we've got 17 for this week, which is pretty handy. Um, yeah, so, and solid bench. The issue is going to be next week. So we do have 13, but the problem is we only have one half, and we do have an extra wing fullback slash centre when we bring back in Nwangani, Tuase and Tedesco. And Lucas is the only one that misses out from this current backline. So there is potentially going to be a trade next week of some description, but having a look at the who's hot and who's not list has made me think we might look at going early. So what is Finu's break even? So break even of 7. So because he's been coming on, playing some good minutes in the middle there. So the tackles were up, which was nice. Some good meters gained, so running the ball, a bit of kicking. It's obviously a bit more when he was playing halfback, but maybe still not a lot. So this is the concern. I think not that he played the full game there, but played 48 minutes at halfback and only scored 11 because their tackles are down, not as many run meters, and the kick meters aren't really there. And I guess we don't have a big sample size to go off. Did score well playing big minutes at halfback at the end of last year, scored a try, couple of line breaks in there, so can't really factor that in. Hmm. Yeah, I guess like the other thing to consider with this is he might actually just get a decent run at it. Looking through like debuted last year, mostly just coming off the interchange bench, playing a bit of hooker or whatever. So probably hasn't really had the opportunity. But one thing I did notice watching these games that he has played is he looks like a lot bigger body than what I remember him from last year. So I think that's a good thing. So maybe we go early, try to get a bit of extra value out of the move. Latu Finu. So bring him in. And probably not a play this week. We could potentially loop him. When do they play? I was looking at round 18. So they do play Friday night, which is nice, but question is who would you loop out? Because realistically, Curran plays tonight, Tavanga plays tomorrow in that same game. So it have to be Couchman or Donahue. So I guess obviously you'd want a big score from him to want to loop. So I think we'll just bring Couchman down here. Yeah, so Couchman plays on Saturday, so I should be right to get onto that tomorrow night, Saturday morning. So just push him up one. So it's going to take a big score for Finu to get looped in. I think it'd have to be 50 because I think Couchman's good for close to that. Um, but yeah, I guess if it comes off, it comes off. So yeah, I think that's the play. So then that does give us 13 for next week. So hopefully don't have to do any trades. Um, does allow us to hang on to Kurt Donahue as well, which I'm pretty keen on for the run home. Yeah, should generate a little bit more cash for us as well. We've got a lot in the bank. So 5 trades plus the extra 8 that we get in round 20. So we've got 13 trades left. Pretty happy with the squad as it is. So I think we're doing okay. So yeah, so I'm going to lock in that third trade this week. Try and grab that bit of cash that is seemingly on offer. And we'll go from there. So Captain Payne Haas, I'm just pretty big on him this week. Terrell May, solid VC. Cleary and Yo, not backing up from Perth, so I expect some big games from them. But I think maybe the rest of the team around them might not help, given that they have had to travel back from Auckland on a 5-day turnaround. So yeah, I can understand putting them in the conversation. Maybe Yo, picking up a lot of the slack in the middle, perhaps. But I'll just stick with the basics. Um, yeah, so team saved, locked in, ready to rip. So we'll wrap the video up there. As always, if you've got any questions, comments, thoughts, feel free to add them below this video. Give us a like if you enjoy the NRL Fantasy content. Subscribe for all the fantasy sports content on the channel. And other than that, we'll catch you in the next one.